Hey, you sister students. Today I want to hit a couple things in regards to our PBL. I want to touch on guided practice and independent practice, and hopefully these will give you some good ideas on what you can implement into your lesson, your presentation, and give you a good starting point. So guided practice should be the third part of your lesson. So you had your opening, you captivated your audience, got their attention, told them what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. You've introduced new material, you've taught the material, and now you got to give your students a chance to practice. So practice is very important when you're trying to learn new material or internalize new material and remember it. So if you don't have a time for practice, then you as the teacher won't have the chance to assess whether your students know it or not, and how well they know it. Here's an analogy for guided practice after you've taught the lesson, or just your lesson through this point. So imagine you're trying to get to your friend's house, and your friend gives you directions to their house. So that's your introduction of new material. They're teaching you how to get to their house. And so after they have told you how to get there, you might ask questions to clarify. You might ask, so do I turn right by the gas station, or do I go past the gas station to the stop sign, or do I do this or that? That's guided practice because the teacher is still there with you. You're able to ask questions, work through things with the teacher. And then let's say after you've got your questions clarified, then you repeat back all your directions to the person who taught it to you to make sure that you understand it. So you're still with the teacher, you're gaining knowledge, you're gaining insight, you're making sure you understand. That's guided practice because the teacher is still there. And then imagine that you, after you've found out where you need to go, you get in your car and you drive there by yourself. That's your independent practice. You are practicing what you learned, and now you have to drive there and do it on your own. Okay, so those are the different types of practice. So guided practice, independent practice. Guided practice is important because the expert's still there. The teacher's still there to make sure that the students are clear on what's going on, to make sure they don't misunderstand things. And the students are given a chance to practice, reinforce what they just did, what they just learned. And so some examples, some ideas you could use. You've got questioning, which is a simple one, sample problems, graphic organizers, concept webs, summaries. So summarize what they just did and put it in a real quick 20-word summary or a 30-word summary or whatever, and have students do something where they can practice it, you're still there, and you can let them know if they're right, wrong, need to work on something, whatever. Here's a tip that comes when you're giving guided practice. So a lot of times teachers will have students practice regurgitating information. There are certain things that you need to know, but recalling facts is going to be like a short-term thing. But if you want students to get a deep, rich understanding of the topic and really remember it and understand it, you're going to have to do things a little differently than just recalling of facts. So let's take the example of what are the causes of the U.S. Civil War. Now, you could list all the causes, you could recall it, you could read a textbook and regurgitate that information, but that's not telling you whether you comprehended the reasons. It's telling you, did you read and understand what you read? So another thing that you could do with that same topic is you ask the students to name one cause of the Civil War that they think was the most significant and why. So they have to justify, rationalize, think through the reasons, and figure out which one's the most significant, most important, and why. That's going to help them go a little deeper, help them internalize the information a little better. You could also do a lot of other different things like share regional differences of opinion in the cause of the war, analyze the perspectives and strengths of arguments between two different views, one from the North, one from the South. You could organize a debate with different groups defending different interpretations of why the Civil War occurred, etc. And these things are going to help students get a more deep grasp of the material other than just regurgitating information. Now, the independent practice, this is going to give students a chance to practice their skills on their own. So this is you driving in the car and getting to your friend's house by yourself. So you need to focus on your TEKS, focus on your objective, what you want to learn. You need to create your assignment or lesson or whatever you're doing, your practice, based on that. It needs to be relevant to what you want them to learn, what's your objective. So the example we have down here is the students are going to create Say No to Drugs posters. with a series of pictures depicting the gradual debilitation of 3 different bodily organs through smoking, alcohol, or drugs. And so the students are practicing what they learned was the dangers of drugs and alcohol and smoking on your body. And now they have to use that information to create a poster as to why it's important to say no to drugs. And so they're taking what they learned, they're putting it into practice, they're doing it on their own, and when they get done, their teacher, Ms. Donnelly, is going to be able to know if they learn what they're supposed to learn or not. And it's going to help crystallize and impress that information into the students' minds.